I've been a Christian for about 15 years, since 2004, and I come from a Jehovah's Witness background. My mum is Jehovah's Witness, my nan, my granddad was prior to him dying. It's very, very heavy in my family. I think it's a generational thing, and they're very religious, and it's very sad. But yeah, so in 2004, I'd been suffering with severe depression. I had been running out in front of cars, trying to get hit, cutting my arms, taking massive overdoses of insulin, antidepressants, all sorts of medicines, because I just did not want to live. And I remember being in a mental health house for people with mental health, and I said to my friend, we were sitting down one day, and I said, do you fancy going to church? And he looked at me like, okay, yeah, we'll go to church. So we went to the only church I knew in my area, which was the Baptist church. And it should have been closed, but it was a miracle, because that day someone had a 60th birthday party, and I went in, said I need to speak to the minister, had a chat with him, and he was praying with me. He said, you need to accept Jesus into your life. I told him about my struggles with homosexuality, my struggles with having a Jehovah's Witness background, and I gave my life to Christ. When I left the church, I was really happy. I knew something had changed. I had the Holy Spirit. It felt like I was floating on air. But that was not the end of the depression. I still had depression for about another 4 years, and it got so bad that I was hysterical. I was talking on the phone, I was screaming down the phone to friends, just in absolute mental torment. I just cannot describe the torment. I mean, physical pain, you can take a painkiller and it goes away. In most cases, not all the time, depends on the severity. But depression, I was on all sorts of antidepressants, not one worked. In the end, I stopped taking them because the side effects were just no good. So, and I used to get angry with God. I was like, why are you allowing this? And I remember I smashed up my apartment. I ripped up a Bible. I was throwing very expensive china all over the place. Plates, cups, like an unhappy woman with her husband throwing the plates around. But I was just going berserk. And I then went to see a friend that I knew quite well, and around her house I was hysterical. I pushed her out the way, and I was just adamant. It got to the final straw for me, where I was just going to cut my wrists and just bleed. That's what I wanted. I didn't want it. So I cycled home, and as I was cycling, I had like this picture of Judas Iscariot pop into my mind, and it really scared me. So I turned back, went back to my friend's house, and about an hour, hysterical again, and I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't do it. I want to just end it. So I went back to cycle, and again I had this picture pop in my mind, and it was like Jesus warning me that if you take your life, you will not be with me in eternity. If you commit suicide, you will not be with me. So it really scared me. I went back to my friend's house and said, I need to speak to a minister. I mean, I'd already spoke to various ministers, but there was one particular minister that I spoke to who was quite more of a liberal minister. But I said to him on the phone, I said, I don't want to live. If I kill myself, will I go to hell? He never said yes, he never said no. He was quite diplomatic. He said, Torren, he said, your life does not belong to you, and you cannot take your life. He said, you cannot take your life. He said, it does not belong to you. Fast forward a little bit, because I know I've only got 5 minutes. I sought help from a ministry called LL Ministry. It's a deliverance ministry, and Jesus completely set me free. I went there, and because my dad, when I was 1 year old, my dad committed suicide. So that's where I've had a lot of issues, generational issues, and struggling with homosexuality, which God has given me the grace to stay away from. Now I want to get married, I want to have a beautiful life and a family. So yeah, God is good. God is good. Praise the Lord.